Shan. Today I'm going to be talking about the pros and cons of working in the film industry as a makeup artist. So let's begin. My first con would be that the money situation isn't always reliable. So at first, when you're coming into the industry, the potential to make a lot of money can be appealing. So it could look like a pro. However, unless you have a contract where you're going to be on a long-term production such as Coronation Street or Hollyoaks, there can be gaps in your employment, which means you'll have to find a way to pay your bills and sustain yourself without work that month or however long it takes until your new job starts. So from the outside now, I definitely think that is a con, especially if you're looking to buy a house or looking to take out a loan to get a new car. That is something that you're going to have to take into consideration and definitely plan for. So if you are working in the industry, then I do advise that you start saving like a few grand for any situation that may arise like we're going through now. So the COVID-19 pandemic is a great example of something unexpected happening where there's literally no work. If you're a makeup artist, you're in such close contact with the actors that kind of production is going to be one of the last things to go back to work. It's worth considering in your long-term plans whether financial stability is important to you. Another con for me would be that there is a lot of searching and applying for positions, especially at the start. Unless you've been in the industry for a few years and you've networked enough and you're able to jump off a production, get onto another one straight away, there will be those dry spells where you have to search for work and apply. Obviously, the longer that you're in the industry and the more people that you work with, the easier work will come your way, and you should be able to get into a good routine where you finish a production, have a little break, and then jump straight onto the next one. It's also worth considering that the competition for makeup artists in the industry has rapidly grown over the last 10 years. There have been institutions set up where people can pay for a private education that will basically boost them into the industry. It's also a little bit exclusive due to the upfront investment that you have to put into your kit and your education. So if this is a career that you do want to go into, then I would suggest saving a little bit of bank of money just to invest in your kit before you get started. So following on from that is our third con, and that is the competition is fierce. So I touched on that in the last point, but over the last few years, thanks to YouTube and Instagram, the makeup and beauty industry has absolutely exploded. And for that reason, there is going to be even more competition now and in the future for these roles in the TV and film industry. That's not a reason to not go into the industry if you're passionate about working in TV and film as a makeup artist, but it is something to consider if you're not in love with the idea of being a makeup artist in TV and film. So my fourth con is that some people unfortunately have the advantage of privilege, and that will ultimately end them up with a job in the industry just because they either know somebody or they've had a lot of money to invest in the latest kit up front. So you may have worked for a year, 2 years on low budget and small budget productions just to get your first breakthrough into the TV and film industry in the UK, and the person next to you may have just ended up there because they either knew somebody or they've paid for an education and a professional kit up front. So that is something that you will unfortunately be competing against, but obviously if you're passionate about the job and you want to be there, it won't matter to you as long as you're there too. My fifth and final con is that, and this is less of a con, but it's something worth taking into consideration. The TV and film industry in the UK is actually quite small, and the people who work on these productions know each other. So, fortunately for me, I did quite well and I managed to get into the TV and film industry as a junior and then quickly progress as a trainee. However, I imagine that if it didn't go so well for you, that news would quickly spread and it would be possible that you'd be frozen out of the productions. So I've not personally had that happen to me, and I don't know that it's happened to anybody that I know, but you can just tell that it is the type of industry where that would happen if somebody got into the industry who really wasn't suited and didn't work hard enough. So that's our 5 cons. So now let's move on to the pros. My first pro is the travelling. And again, this could also be seen as a con. However, for me, I love travelling and I'm not connected to one area, so I'm more than happy to move to a city and set myself up and work there for a few months and then move on to the next one. Obviously, if you have strong family connections or social connections, you may not want to leave your area, but for some productions, it will be necessary. If you get a job on a production and they want to film in Scotland for 3 months, then you will have to move. So it's up to you to decide what you value the most. If you love to travel, then this is a great job for that. My second pro would be that purely working in the industry as a makeup artist can be your dream come true. If that's your dream job, then it's possible to make it, and that's fantastic. It can be really hard work. It's physically tiring, it's mentally tiring, but if you absolutely love what you're doing, you get to live, work and breathe this industry. You get to touch upon every aspect of it, and at the end of the day, you see your name in those credits of your new favourite movies. My third and final pro is that if you make it to the top, then you'll truly be living the dream. When I first got into this industry, I was put forward for a Bet2 program, which allowed you to attend events with professional crew members who would speak about their experiences in TV and film. One of the events that I attended had Sian Grigg, who is Leonardo DiCaprio's personal makeup artist. From working with Leonardo in the Titanic, she went on to work on every one of his feature films. This, for me, was huge inspiration. Imagine if you get to the top and you get to ride along with the celebrity as their personal makeup artist. What an absolute honour that would be. So that was my third and final pro. I feel like a lot of the pros and cons that I've spoken about today could be seen as either a pro or con, depending on what type of person you are and what you value the most. For me, a lot of these differed throughout my time in the industry. Sometimes it was a pro to earn a lot of money, sometimes it was a con to have a lot of dry spells. It purely depends on the work that you do and the frequency of that work. Let me know in the comments whether you still think this is your dream job or whether you value your personal time and financial stability more. Thank you for watching. Bye!